There's been plenty of older anime I've wanted to watch, but one I've really wanted to watch is the works of Satoshi Kon, who has made some pretty well-known stuff. Like for example, Perfect Blue and Paprika, so I finally got around to watching at least one of these movies. And that movie being Perfect Blue, a really fantastic movie that is equally as good as it is confusing, but it's not very confusing. Coming out of this movie, I was very confused, but I sat there and thought about what I really watched. And I might not be the smartest person to ever make a video about this movie, and I'm not going to be the last that ever makes a video about it, but this movie is very good. To put it in simple terms, I know that it doesn't surprise anybody who's seen the film, but this really is a masterfully crafted film, from beginning to end. I really had no idea what this movie was even about, which is crazy considering how popular it was. I heard about her mental struggles, but that was all I really knew. So watching this movie blind is the best way to absorb it, because a lot of things will be ruined for you in this movie if you even have the slightest idea of the main plot of the film, so spoilers if you don't want to get spoiled. We follow Mima, who is an idol getting pushed into the movie industry. She is very much hesitant at first, wanting to continue being an idol, but ultimately goes through with it. Even though her manager Rumi don't fully agree to this move, Mima's producer insists on this move because there's a fuck ton of money to be made. She agrees and starts acting. It's only a minor role for now, but her producer begs for more and more scenes. And that leads to another reason she has her mental struggles, from the stalking to some of the scenes to even how she feels about herself, leading to everything collapsing internally. We have three characters you really only need to worry about during this movie, and that is Mima, Rumi, who makes a lot of sense later on, and Meme Mania. These are three characters that have so much importance to this plot. Mima's significant because, you know, she's the main character of this whole movie and ends up doing things that make her slip more and more into something that feels like she really isn't. This doesn't help on top of everything that she is getting stalked. Her producer pushes and pushes to make her image stray away from the pop idol and into a real actress, so the unthinkable happens. In the drama series that she is acting in, her character starts to get a more prominent role due to her producer pushing for more. So the makers of the series decide what is the best way to remove the innocence from a former pop idol, so people will think she's taking this acting gig seriously. They have her star in the rape scene, which is fucking crazy, but she agrees even after showing much hesitation. You can see in her facial movement that this is something she seriously doesn't want to do, but she can't let anyone down that has gotten her this far. And this scene is very, very, very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, and you're just watching her as it slowly takes the mental toll on her, and she just starts envisioning herself somewhere else, even making her manager run away. This scene is taken really seriously, and you can feel and see how uncomfortable everybody is in the room, and we see her fully break down once she gets home, screaming how she didn't want to do it and confirming the fact that she couldn't let anybody down. That's why she chose to do it. And that moment is the whole catalyst of her mental spiral starting. She starts seeing her idol self and she's putting herself down over and over again, calling herself tarnished now, which I'm not going to make the Elden Ring jokes, but I always saw these scenes as a mental projection onto herself. More of an inner thought about how she feels about herself currently, how she struggles to deal with moving on from the idol work and being pushed into this new profitable industry where they take advantage of you in the fastest way possible, where they will manipulate you into anything just because it makes a few extra bucks. She sees this version of herself constantly throughout the movie, taunting her, teasing her, and tell her how she's quote unquote the real one, and how she's gonna perform with her old group, causing Mima to blend reality and fiction together where you don't even know what the fuck is going on. Perfect Blue does something I really like, and that is the confusion that is added into everything. You're just as confused as Mima. She deadass gets to a point where she can't figure out the difference between reality and fiction. She's lost in her own head. It's scary. This scene right here actually had me for a moment. They talked about having split personalities in this TV show she was acting in, and I was like, oh shit, because they used her real name. But no, it was once again a moment where the viewer is meant to be just as confused about what is real and what really isn't real. And there are plenty of other scenes that do this exact same thing, where you question what's really there and what's all in her head. She even hurt herself to understand what is really going on and really understand if the shit that's going on is fucking real. She is so lost in this reality, what is fake and what is real, that she has to use the stalker website as a crutch to help her remember what she even did in the day. She even thinks that she killed a man because she found bloody clothes in her closet, which we find out later on wasn't her, maybe, perchance, I'm not really 100% sure, but in the moment, even you question, was it really her? Because a few scenes prior, you see her looking like she's lost life, with no hope, so lost within herself. We just constantly see her and her fall slowly and slowly into this constant cycle of not understanding what's going on. I watched a lot of interviews with the creator Satoshi Kon because I didn't want my opinion swayed about this movie, so I did what I thought would be best and listen to interviews with him instead of watching videos talking about the movie. Excuse me. One of my favorite things that came out of these interviews, one that I really liked, was this quote right here. The interview asked him how the viewer struggles with the movie flipping between the reality and the virtual world, as he called it. So, would a rewatch help you get a better understanding of the film? His statement I thought was genuinely fantastic. He said, "The difficulty of figuring out that is at the core of the film. If you saw the film many times in order to distinguish between objective reality and the main character's subjective experience, I think the film's flavor would dissipate disappear, so as long as you accept that it's meant to be inexplicable, that's fine. The best feeling you're ever going to get out of this movie is the first time you watch it, because you know not a single thing about it, and once you watch something 2 times, 10 times, even 15 times, you're going to notice all the little problems over and over again. All the shock you had that first time watching is gonna go away. The twist won't be there. There's no anticipation for where the story is gonna go because you already know exactly what is gonna happen. I rewatched this movie for this video and it didn't really hit the same as the first time I watched it. You understand things a lot better with this film on a second rewatch because you can see where the lines aren't really blurry anymore. You can tell what's real and what isn't real. You sadly lose that connection you have with Mima throughout the film because you don't feel as lost with her. The thing that makes the first watch so good is because you feel like you're in Mima's shoes. You feel as lost, as confused as she does. You can't even differentiate between the fiction and the non-fiction in the movie. Did the director achieve the exact type of feeling he wanted to convey with this movie? You see with how it's edited, these scenes are meant to deliver that type of impact. He says that he didn't do anything special or out of the ordinary. He says that they didn't even want to confuse the viewer. But when you see how he talks about this movie, how everything meticulously is done, you realize how intentional everything is. Where they live at is important, and how their homes look is important. Like Mima, at the start of the film, she has this nice, clean house, but as the film goes on, it slowly turns more into a mess as her mental, keeps spiraling. He was even a former manga artist, so things like all these little things feel very intentional, even though he claims that it wasn't intentional. Like, buddy, I think I'm onto you. In the video, which is included in the Blu-ray edition of the movie, he talks about how the very beginning of the movie was very, very intentional. He explains how the Power Rangers at the start of the movie are a front, a mask, one of the big themes in this movie. He talks about personas, which would be better if he explains it to you himself.
意味なんですけど、英語でパーソン、パーソナリティ。PERSON あれがペルソナから来てる、語源がみんなペルソナ、つまり仮面という意味合いとそれが表す人や人格というものを含意していると、で、要するにパーフェクトブルーというこの映画は人間がつけているペルソナについてのお話ですよと。
He uses the very start of the film as a way for the viewers to digest the concept very easily by showing it as a kid's show. It makes it where you can understand this whole concept of the film much simpler, and it's something I never fully thought of until the interview. My opinion on this whole scene was that it was just another opinion onto how to show the difference between reality and fiction, just showing it really early in the film, and it's kind of foreshadowing stuff, but it's kind of what he said, but not really what he said, but kind of what he said, you know what I'm saying? This whole interview, well, technically not an interview, it's more like him showing stuff to a class, so I'm not entirely sure what to call it, but him breaking down the movie is a must-watch if you enjoyed the movie, because he breaks down things about the movie that maybe you never understood about it. The whole uncomfortable scene itself is a metaphor for her idol self dying and becoming what you see before you, which I think was pretty cool. It was something I never picked up on until he described it. This man is very meticulous when it comes to putting this movie together. Everything is meant to be there, so if you think something is making sense to somewhere else, it probably is. Now that I'm done glazing the goat for right now, let's finish up with the other two characters that I haven't fully talked about yet. Mean Mania, the man who I thought wasn't going to be the stalker because that would be way too obvious, but yes, he very much was the stalker, even making the website that updated what she was doing daily. He's got a very strong parasocial relationship with Mima. In the beginning of the film, we already see him hold her on a higher pedestal compared to everybody else. In his mind, she can do no wrong, so when she switches careers, he's broken by it. Calling the real Mima a fake, someone that isn't the real one he cares about, it shows how extreme these type of parasocial relationships can go in someone's mind, especially if it goes unchecked, but it can get even worse if someone is even manipulating the person into doing acts because they don't fit within their own image. Rumi was the twist I never saw coming, someone who was a constant comfort for Mima throughout the film. She was always there for her, someone she could rely on at the end of the day. At the end of the film, we see her genuinely crash the fuck out at Mima. This is where everything comes to a head. Rumi's room is exactly like Mima's. Remember how I said earlier about, the room reflects their mental state? It looks exactly like Mima's room used to look back when everything she had going on with the idol work. She sees herself as Mima and she used to be an idol, so she basically has a mixed personality disorder going on right now. We also found out that she used Meme Mania as a way to protect Mima's pure image by killing off the photographer who took advantage of her and spreaded her nudes, killing the screenwriter who put her in such an uncomfortable scene, and even killing off her producer for helping her sway her opinion on towards becoming an actor and going away from the idol work. Rumi's mental state becomes one where she believes that she is the real Mima. She believes that she is the pure idol idol that is still the only one worthy of living, and not this fake one that's trying to ruin the reputation of Mima, the idol. She tries to kill the real Mima, causing her to have to chase after Mima, eventually leading to her own downfall, where Mima is able to unintentionally put her out of commission. This chase I saw as a metaphor for her fighting her past, running away from everything that she had to deal with. It was more than just a chase, it was someone trying to kill her, but like, when you really think about it, it's her idol past trying to catch up to her, and, you know, eventually she literally, figuratively kills it and puts it in the fucking dirt, and, you know, fully understands who she is now. This movie ends with Mima saying she is the real thing after someone saying, yo, is that the real Mima over there? And she was like, yes, I'm the real thing. A lot of people have interpreted this ending in many ways. Some think she did all the killing, and others think that she was never crazy at all. But my interpretation isn't so crazy, as many people agree with what I think, and that is she finally found her true self, and moving past her old life, and finally accepting this new life she set up for herself. And that is basically the movie, and the characters, and all the struggles that they have to deal with. This movie is meticulous. Everything really does play an important part of the film. Even the director himself talked about how much rooms are important to everybody's mental state. Like I said before, we see Mima tear her room apart, coinciding with her mental collapse. Rumi's room is an exact copy, making you understand that she really does view herself as the real Mima. And Mimania's, it's just plastered with posters, and he's just hearing them talk to him. So, you know, he just shows like, yo, I'm obsessed with her as an idol. Satoshi Kon, this was my first introductions to any of your work, but holy shit, what an introduction to his work. Do yourself a favor and watch interviews of him talking about this movie, breaking down scenes throughout the movie. It's amazing to hear him talk about what he envisioned, and how each scene achieved exactly what he was looking for when making this movie. It makes it even crazier to think that this was his directorial debut with this movie, and it's like, holy shit, the way everything is woven together to a great degree, where you can see all the little details thrown in there. I could literally go on and on about this man and how everything was so significant towards this film. Sadly, he did pass away though, but he did leave us some amazing films for us to enjoy, so shout out to him. He is the GOAT. I absolutely love his movies. He makes amazing work. You need to watch this. This movie is really good. I mean, you have to believe everything you hear about it, because damn, it is a fantastic movie. It ties all of its themes together perfectly, and it takes everything to the possible extreme. It's dark, it's fucked up, it deals with a lot of things that most of the time go unspoken. It's fucked up, but there are some lessons in here about life that you can learn. You can't lose yourself, how we live and how we can change, how we sometimes are just forced to grow up and move on. This movie is really good. You can say it's a way of letting one's past go. There's so many things you can take away from this film, and I don't think there would be a wrong answer, because even the man himself said he wants it to be open-ended. This movie has been influential to many movies, some you've seen and others you've never heard of, but it shows how important this film really is. Talking about how you can get caught up into life and how much an image can change how you even see yourself. You can take so much away from this movie, stuff I've said, stuff that you're probably keeping to yourself. This movie is amazing, and I, hope you go see it. Hopefully everybody did enjoy this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Also, shout out this YouTube channel. It had all the interviews that I wanted to watch, so go check it out, go subscribe, and go here to watch some interviews. It even has some about his other movies that he talked about. So everything I use in this video will also be in the description below, whether it's the interviews or some articles talking about it, because yeah, go check those out too. Please go check it out, and please subscribe. They're great. They're goated for uploading this, so yeah. Hope everybody did enjoy. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and goodbye.